Coming up next, we have a casserole that's sure to please anyone in the family, along with some delicious scones. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne.
And we have some scones today. And when I think of scones, I think more of dessert, but this is not a dessert scone.
It's not. It's almost like a biscuit because we're going to use cheddar cheese in there and some bacon and some chives. So, you know, it's going to be a good accent to this potato sausage casserole we're going to make.
I'm really excited about this because, you know, when you think of casseroles, I always think of like a noodle casserole or, you know, this is something different.
That's right. We use potatoes and we're going to use bulk sausage.
Okay.
And, of course, where did I go get the bulk sausage? Is from our great sponsor, the Worst Shop. They carry wonderful products, and when in it, we need a pound of bulk sausage, so we're going to bring it in there. And one thing, too, with the Worst Shop, he doesn't use a lot of preservatives.
Okay.
So people that, you know, are concerned with some of all the preservatives in meats and sausages and stuff, you know, he uses limited, you know, ingredients like that. So it's healthier for us. So we don't get all those, you know, preservatives we don't need.
Right.
So we're going to come over here and that in there. I did put the oven on to heat that up to 350.
Okay.
So I'm going to just squeeze this pork sausage in here. And this here, you know, with the bulk sausage, it's not smoked.
Okay.
You know, it's non-smoked. So we just want to get that in there. And stuff. So, and when I was into the Worst Shop to pick this up, I mean, I was just looking again at all their different meats and stuff. I mean, they carry, he was showing me his prime rib that, you know, he really does well with.
Okay.
And he has his own seasoning that he makes.
Oh, that's good to know.
Prime rib, and he said he's just had so many rave comments with that. And also, another thing he showed me and featured is all his seafood.
Oh.
I couldn't believe all the seafood he had in there. Scallop, shrimp, and the scallops were just huge, beautiful, you know, looking scallops. So anybody needs some great seafood,
all right.
We
know where to go now.
Absolutely. And even though, I mean, you can smell the sausage right away when that cooking this here.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So we're going to get that. And just while we're getting that heated up a little bit, we can come over here and get a couple of ingredients started here.
Okay.
We're going to spray the pan just lightly a little bit. But we're going to use a can of cream of mushroom soup and 3/4 cup milk. So I'm going to put it in just a larger measuring cup so that I can mix it, you know, the milk and sausage, milk and...
Get sausage on the brain.
That's right. I can smell it, so of course that's all I'm thinking of. But the cream of mushroom soup, and we're going to put some pepper and salt in there and some onion.
Okay.
So it's nice to get that blended well, so when you're kind of layering your potatoes and sausage and this, you know, it's going to be mixed nicely. So we're going to do a 3/4 cup of milk, and we'll get that stirred up there, and it says about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So we'll put that in there, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And, you know, because we're doing the sausage, you know, you're going to have some salt, a little bit of salt in there, so you don't want to overdo it.
Sure. There's a lot of, I mean, it can get to be too salty if you don't watch it.
Right. And it bakes from up to about an hour and a half, but, you know, maybe about 10 minutes before that, we're going to take it out and we're going to put cheese on top of it. So then again, you have some more salt. So you want to be very careful, you know, with that. So we get that mixed here. Okay, and then it says about a 1/2 cup of onion.
Okay.
I mean, Right, you know. It
A
says
small onion.
The small onion is fine. And if you have a little bit more than a half a cup, put it in. And that you don't want to waste. So we just got that mixed up there. So let's go over there and check out our sausage and get that.
Oh yeah, that's cooking up nice.
Ooh, looks what I did.
Well, this is just a different dish. You cook with hamburgers so much that, you know, you have a lot of hamburger casserole recipes that this is just something different.
Absolutely. You know, like you said, the hamburger, the chicken, and you, like you said, when you think of casserole, you think more of the noodles.
Right.
And that. So it's a nice variety and that. Maybe I should have had a little bit bigger pan, huh?
Well, it'll work.
Yeah, it will. And it's frying up nicely here. And you can see, and it's probably about half cooked already. And there's
no fat in there.
No fat.
Very lean.
Which is what you want. And that. So, and if you have something, a sausage that is a little fattier, you're going to want to drain it.
Sure.
You know, don't put all that fat into your casserole. And, you know, sausage is already seasoned, so you have all that in there. That's why you're not having much seasoning into that casserole. Just turn that down a little bit there. And we're going to just get some of that off. We want to make sure we get that all cooked.
Okay. Now this doesn't take long to fry up at all.
It doesn't. Like I said, you can see how lean that is and all that. So. Okay, I'm going to just turn that off because that's about already done.
Okay.
So you see how fast that went. Okay. And then we're going to just want to layer that. So I already sliced, it says about 3 cups potatoes.
Okay.
So we're going to put half of the potatoes in here. And this is a pretty big casserole dish here too. You could probably get by with a little bit smaller if you didn't have that big of one. So now I'm going to just put half of the sausage over because we're going to make 2 layers.
Okay. Almost like lasagna.
Yeah, just okay. So about half of that in there. Okay. And now we'll pour half of the cream of mushroom and milk and onion here.
Okay.
And we'll just spread that out a little bit here.
Very, very basic meat and potatoes meal we got going here.
Yes.
What more could you ask for?
No, that's
Scones,
usually,
right?
Right. And usually meat and potatoes is, what do they say, way to a man's heart. Most of them, they like their meat and potatoes. So we'll just kind of spread those out. And I just peeled them and then I, you know, sliced them that. And I probably would slice them rather than dicing. You know, when you're layering, you get a little bit more even coverage.
Sure.
Right.
And if you have one of those nifty slicers that cut them even all the way around, it goes fast
and you know, you might even get a little extra piece of meat in there if you don't keep your fingers away from it.
Yes, I have experienced that.
Okay. So we're just spread that over there. And like I said, it asked for 3 cups potatoes, and that's pretty much what I had. But you could easily, you know, add a few another cup or so of potatoes, and I think you'd be just fine. Because
well, especially if you're making this for a pretty large gathering, you could double this recipe very easy.
Yeah, or if you have more of a family, and you know, something like this is great leftover.
Sure.
You know, it's so easy to, you know, heat up. And tell you one thing about, you know, you cook one night and have enough for leftovers for the next evening, so you know, you get kind of a break from all that cooking all the time.
Right.
So. Okay, now we're going to just pop that in the oven.
Okay. And let the oven do the rest.
Absolutely. So while that's mixing, it says about an hour and a half. So I'm going to set the timer for that.
Okay.
Okay. And I found this great recipe for scones, and like you said, when you think of scones, you think more of a dessert.
Yes.
But like I said, we've got bacon and chives and cheddar cheese in this. It's almost more like a biscuit.
Like you were saying, yes.
So we'll get over here. And so now we're going to bring that. Here we're going to start with 2 cups flour.
Okay.
Okay, and it says 2 teaspoons baking powder and a teaspoon of salt here. Okay, and a teaspoon of sugar.
Okay.
Or I think that was a tablespoon of sugar. So now I'm going to just
a little bit of extra sugar.
Yeah, yeah. But so we're going to just blend that together. And then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of butter.
Okay.
And I just cut that, you know, just in little like teaspoon, tablespoon, you know, pieces, so that when I'm blending it with my pastry thing here, you know, it's just easier to mix.
And is it something you want to let the butter go to room temperature? It's easier to mix in?
No, you want it cold.
Okay.
You know, and I had just taken this out of the refrigerator, so, and too, because when we're working with this, we're going to add cream to it, 3/4 cup cream.
Okay.
You want that, you know, of course, definitely, you're going to take that out and it's going to be cold.
Okay.
And it doesn't take long to get that all blended in here. And this only takes about 20 minutes to bake. So we'll have it ready, but I won't pop it in the oven until, you know, the potato casserole is, or the sausage casserole is a little more done, so that, you know, when you take it out, you have nice and hot scones.
Right.
But they're great at room temperature too, so, you know, don't worry about if you have a few left over that you're going to have to heat them up. You're just going to, you know, eat them at room temperature. And then I'm going to use a cup of shredded cheese here.
Okay.
And I've got cheddar here on this, so I'm going to just mix that in here.
Almost starting to remind me of the biscuits you might get at Red Lobster.
It is, only the dough is a little bit different, you know, than their biscuits, but the flavoring I think you're going to find is very much like that.
Very similar.
Yeah. So I already have, there was 6 slices of pre-cooked bacon, crisp bacon that I made and just crumbled up, and a couple of tablespoons of chives.
Okay.
I use the fresh chives because I had that, but if you don't, you can use the dry chives too.
Okay.
You know, if you happen to have that and you don't have any fresh chives on hand. So again, we'll just mix that in, and then we're going to mix, use 3/4 cup cream as our wetting agent, you know, here instead of water or
Sure.
milk and stuff, so just make a little bit of a well in the middle here to add our cream. And it says 3/4 cup cream, and I probably had just a little bit more, and I'm going to leave that aside because when I have the scones rolled out, I'm going to brush the top with, you know, the cream there, and it just gives it a nice golden color to it when it bakes.
Okay.
And this isn't something that you're going to mix, you know, a lot, you know, not like you're going to need a yeast dough.
Okay.
We just want to get that blended.
And this isn't something then we have to roll out and cut into perfect little round circles or anything like that?
Nope, we're going to put it out on my pastry sheet here, and I'll just kind of make sure that all the flour is worked in there.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit easier doing it on the pastry sheet here. So we'll just get this moved over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pizza pan because it says to just press it into like a round, you know, about 7-8 inches, you know, and so I thought, well,
why
the
not?
pizza pan is going to work great for that. So we'll just put this down on here. And you can see, I mean, I've got still a little flour to work in with that. And like I said, you just work a little bit. You don't want to, like I said, talked about not overworking it.
Okay. Would they get to be pretty tough biscuits then if you probably worked with it too much?
Yeah, they're lighter when you don't have them so tough.
Okay.
I mean, when you don't work it as much.
Okay.
That's just like a pie crust. You don't want to overwork it because, you know, you get a flakier crust when you have that. I mean, the less you work it, just enough so everything sticks together.
Okay.
And like I said, you know, being you got the cheese in there, and I'm just trying to see if, and that's why I didn't add any extra flour on my pastry sheet here, because if you use a pastry sheet, usually, you know, I don't have problems with it sticking.
Okay.
So, okay. So I'm going to just make that round there, and we're going to just put it on our pastry sheet here, and we're going to just lightly spray that.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll just, you know, you could use a rolling pin, but it's easy just to push that down with the palm of your hand.
So about 7-inch, but what's the thickness that people want to shoot for here?
You know, you're going to have it about, it's probably going to be about a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to, I mean, if you have it a little thinner, that it's going to make any difference, or I guess even a little thicker. One thing when you're using this pastry pie sheet, you know, it has the dimensions on there too, and it's easier to kind of gauge how big you have it.
Sure.
Put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to just put this over the top and just turn it over.
Flip it. We're good.
But there you are. You don't have it falling apart on you. I'm just going to kind of make sure the edges, we don't want the edges you want them kind of smooth so that those don't brown more than, you know, the whole scone in itself.
Sounds good.
So now what we're going to do, and I'm going to get my pizza cutter, and we're going to just cut that, you know, like pie wedges, you know, like what you see scones.
Sure.
Into 8 pieces there. And I'm going to separate that just a little bit. So they get browned in between.
Okay.
And like we talked, we're going to use, I did have a pastry brusher, just brush it a little bit with cream on top of it, and that's going to just give it a nice golden brown color when you're baking it.
Okay.
And this bakes at 425 for 20 minutes.
Okay.
But we're going to just set that aside until our casserole gets to be, like I said, a little bit, you know, about an hour in there, almost done, and then we'll put this in. But don't those look good?
They do.
And, you know, it says to cut them into 8 pieces, but if you want them smaller, go ahead and make more out of it. Say if you have 10 people that you're going to be serving and they to each have a piece, just make it a little bit smaller.
Or make a double batch.
Or make a double, that's even better. Okay, so we're going to just set this aside here.
Okay.
And before long, we're going to have our casserole and all that ready just to show how good it is. Okay, we just have 10 minutes left on our casserole here, so we're going to take that out and we're going to put our cheese on that and put it back in the oven to melt.
Okay.
And fog up my glasses a little bit here.
The downfalls of cooking with glasses.
Yes. Okay, it asks for a half a pound of cheese.
Okay.
So what that is 1 8-ounce package of cheese.
Okay.
And I'm going to use Colby Jack shredded cheese. So, and then we're going to just put that back in there and get that melted because the potatoes are getting nice and soft already. Okay. So let's just spread that out.
Oh, it smells great.
A nice amount of cheese, you know, like in a 9x13 pan, because if you were using just a cup of cheese or, you know, a little less, it really wouldn't be enough to really cover that. So we're going to put that back in and get that cheese melted.
Okay.
And then our scones should be done shortly too. And
all right.
we can
have a feast.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. Okay. Okay.
So about another.
About just, you know, 8 minutes or so. We'll check. Okay. It might not take that long for the cheese to melt.
Okay.
On that, we might take that out a little sooner than till the scones are done and just have it just set a little bit.
All right. Sounds great. Okay. Oh, look at how that cheese is melted.
That it is. And let's just see. Oh, look at how nice and brown the
great.
Scones are. I'm going to just bring over my little hot plate and set that on. But you know, they just puff up a little bit and look great.
Oh, they smell great.
And we're going to just take some out here and see what it looks like. It's going to taste just great. So look at, you got potatoes, cheese, just everything in there. You know, it definitely is a casserole, a meal in one.
It is.
And that, and you know, what I would do too is add one of the scones for sure.
Absolutely.
There. And let's add some fresh vegetables, you know, a couple of onions, green pepper, and some celery there. And, you know, you have everything there you need. And I'm even going to add, this time of the year, we have fresh watermelon season. So, you know, you put all that together and, you know, isn't that a beautiful color and just something that you could serve to a king?
That is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And to get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you. As always, thank you to the Workshop as being our sponsor as well. Thank you so much and have a great day.